The bottom line is this, and it's not just about Medicare for all, folks. It's not just about Medicare for all. If the progressives don't fight, no, I totally agree. We're forcing a Medicare for all vote in exchange for telling Pelosi, with the numbers that we do have, and we have the numbers, and I'm going to be using this graphic a lot, saying, hey, Pelosi, you only have a 4-seat majority right now. You only have a 4-seat majority. We have 12 progressives that are prepared not to vote for you unless we get a floor vote on Medicare for all. I'm telling you straight up, no, I don't think Medicare for all is going to pass. But I'm also telling you that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. That doesn't mean we shouldn't fight. And the notion that if we fight on this, it's going to prevent us from getting any other things. Who the are you kidding that we're going to get anything else under a President Biden? The way that you move and shift things from being popular, from leading in the polls, which Medicare for all does. I mean, a recent Fox News poll said 70% agreed with it. That's a Fox News poll. But the way you change, the way things evolve from being performative, as some in the AOC corner were saying, this is just performative, the way it moves from performative to actually passing is fighting. Not once, not twice, not 5 times, not 10 times, a lot. But you got to start with the first step. It's not enough, sorry AOC, it's not enough to have the list of co-sponsors. We need a debate on the floor on universal health care during a deadly pandemic. We need to hear debate, and that should be part of it, not just a vote, a debate. We need to hear debate and explanation why during a deadly pandemic with 307,000 deaths, tens of millions with no health care, why we still don't provide health care as a right. We need it explained as part of that debate from experts. Why the fact that we don't have single payer, the fact that we don't have Medicare for all, contributed to the death, because a lot of people who were sick chose not to go get tested and didn't go to the hospital because they didn't want to risk the bill. That's not my opinion. Google it. There are tons and tons and tons, I can't put a number on it, of people who would not go get a coronavirus test because they didn't want to pay for it. Contrary to the gaslighting, it wasn't free for everybody. And there were people who would not go to the hospital because they didn't want to bankrupt their families. That's because we have for-profit health care. So this is the time, and I don't agree. I tweeted yesterday, listen, I respect AOC, but she's twisting herself into a human pretzel right now to rationalize and explain why it's not good strategy to do this, why it's not smart, why if we do this, we're preventing opportunities for victories elsewhere. What kind of victories, she says? Getting more progressives to run committees. Who the cares about progressives running committees? It doesn't matter if progressives run the committees, because the committees, whatever they decide on, has to ultimately go through the House leadership. If the Democrats take the Senate, through the Democrats' leadership, and ultimately signed by the president. So it doesn't matter if you get every squad member to run every committee. If whatever is decided by those committee chairs goes through the higher-ups, which is Pelosi, Schumer, and then Biden, it's just going on it's a fast track to the graveyard. So I don't care about progressives winning committee seats and leadership positions. This isn't a fraternity or sorority. Until we could actually win the presidency, until we could get more progressives into the House and Senate. But what is the point? What is the point? If you're a progressive, what is the point of continually donating your money? And you all aren't rich that are watching. What is the point of continually donating your money, volunteering, pushing for these candidates, under the goal of we got to get more progressives in the House. We got to get more progressives in the Senate. Once we have the numbers, then we could actually do shit. Well, as you could see, we're starting to have the numbers. We are going to have 12 people come January, whatever the day is, that this new Congress comes in. We're going to have 12 progressives, possibly 13 if Nina Turner wins, that are strongly for Medicare for all, that ran on it. You can force a vote. You can block other legislation that Pelosi tries as Speaker if she doesn't immediately, if it's not going to be total Medicare for all, if she doesn't give progressives what they want in other areas. It's time to hold political hostages. So for those calling me soft and saying I'm not, whatever, no, I agree with Jimmy on the merits. I just don't agree with, listen, I ain't no prude, okay? I curse plenty. I'm pretty tough, okay? If you knew the kinds of stories I'm working on behind the scenes right now, I'm not afraid of anybody. But the one thing strategically that I disagree with Jimmy's on, Jimmy, you could have righteous indignation. And the people that watch Jimmy and are calling me soft because I'm not ranting as loudly as him and calling them cowards and this and that, righteous indignation is good. Alienating allies is bad. And you could say, well, Jordan, they're showing they're not allies. Just because somebody doesn't agree with you on every single thing, just because someone doesn't agree with you 100% of the time, does not make them a sellout. This is sophomoric, immature, high school thinking. It doesn't make one a sellout if they don't agree with you on every single thing. But we need to push them constructively. Keyword, constructively. To get to where we think they should be. So if you keep calling someone a coward, a sellout, this and that, do you think that's going to make them do what you want them to do? It's just human nature. If you keep calling people cowards, sellouts, feckless, this and that, they're not going to want to do what you want them to do because they're human beings too. So, bottom line, I agree with Jimmy. And I think more importantly than just forcing a Medicare for all vote, anyone who tells you we don't have the numbers yet, we don't have the power yet, we don't have leverage, they don't know math. Because I've already shown you this is the numbers. This is Democrats only have control by 4 seats, and that might go down because there's 2 more elections that haven't been certified. So Pelosi needs 218 votes to be reelected Speaker. Right now, she's only got four over that. She needs 218 votes to pass anything by simple majority. So if progressives would stop around, stop trying to be diplomatic with a corporatist right-wing warmonger, stop trying to, see the longer game. No, they are your political enemies. You need to treat them like your political enemies. A lot of people held their nose, bit their tongue, and voted for Biden to get rid of Trump. That's over with now. Now it's time to treat the Democrats, who are basically just Republican lights, as your political enemy. And with enemies, you don't trim around the edges. You go at them straight at their nose. To be clear, I'm not talking about being violent, but I'm talking about politically, you got to put up a fight. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't try it if it's not immediately the first time going to work. But it is different to have a debate on the floor of the House. It is different to actually have a roll call of people who voted. You could use that in primarying those people. You run the ads during a deadly pandemic. This is how X, Y, and Z congressperson voted on Medicare for all, while public polling 70-something% of the country wanted it during a deadly pandemic, and your congressperson voted against it. Oh, let's take a look how much money they take from the pharmaceutical industry, from for-profit health care. Very different having them yes or no on the record than did they co-sponsor it or not. And more importantly, the Progressive Caucus needs to make a decision. Do you want to, be pals with this caucus? Do you want with the corporate Democrats? Do you want to play a long game thinking that if you play nice with them, eventually they'll see the light? Eventually they'll see the light and start actually making decisions based on representing their constituents rather than their donors? You think you're going to rewire a bunch of old millionaire dinosaurs that is Congress? They need to realize we don't live in a country. We live in the United Corporations of America, and the corporate Democrats are part. They are board members of the United Corporations of America. So I agree. I'm with Jimmy on this. I'm not getting into the drama of, Jimmy first, David Sirota first, this first. I don't give a shit. This isn't high school. I don't care about the personalities involved. And I don't know. I can't think of one reason in the world why any of these people would vote for Nancy Pelosi as Speaker. I just can't. Stop giving your vote to the enemy and fight the enemy. There's no more Trump boogeyman to hold over us. They gaslit us for 4 years about Trump and Russia. There's no more Trump, even though he wants to remain and is fighting his little election fraud conspiracy. He's out. So let's take it to them. And we could, wax and wane about strategy and this and that. Bottom line, you're never going to get Medicare for all or anything else passed unless you fight. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.